Hey, Romain from Glebe Kitchen here with 10 tips to make your restaurant-style curries better. This is a collection of my favorite tips, tricks, and techniques, and hopefully you find something here that you haven't thought of before. 10 tips, 4 minutes, stick around. If you've done any Indian cooking at all, you know onions are key, and that means you're going to have to chop a lot of them, so you might as well get good at it. This is how I was taught. First you cut the onion in half and peel it, and then you make horizontal slices, but you make sure you leave the root end intact. Follow that up with vertical slices and then cut the onion crossways. Takes a bit of practice, but it's so worth it to learn. That works really well for 1 or 2 onions, but if you have a whole bunch of them to chop, there's an easier way. Better living through technology. Just peel and coarsely chop the onion and toss it in a food processor. A few pulses and voila, chopped onions. And the best part is, there's no more tears. More dishes though, you can't have it all. Restaurant-style curries rely on pre-cooked chicken. Well, mostly the chicken curries anyway. And I hear a lot of people complaining that their chicken is either tough or dry or both. There's a few things you can do about that. The first is to dry brine your chicken. There's nothing to that. You toss your chicken with some salt, put it in the fridge and wait 12 hours. There's real food science behind it, but basically if you have the time, it's a step well worth taking. Google dry brining if you'd like to learn more. Ultimately though, it's internal temperature that controls whether your chicken is juicy or not. So suck it up and get an instant read thermometer. Better cooking through food science. I know I go on a lot about this, but do your prep. Just do your prep. That's fundamental to restaurant cooking. It's called mise en place and it means everything in its place. Cooking restaurant style goes really fast and you don't have time to be screwing around once you get started. So measure out your spices, dilute your tomato paste, chop what needs to be chopped. Just have everything that's going in that curry next to your pan when you're ready to start. Grinding your spices to order is a game changer. Seriously, it's unbelievable. I'm not saying do it every time, even I don't do that, although I probably should. But if you do things like make your own garam masala, there's no reason to grind all of it after you toast your spices. Just grind what you need when you need it. I got that trick from an Indian mom. Thank you, Indian mom. Here's the thing. Indian restaurant cooking is not diet food. So use the oil specified in the recipe. It's important and I'll explain why in just a few seconds. But before I do, a brief public service announcement on garlic ginger paste. The stuff you buy in jars is crap. Like cooking with cardboard, crap. So please learn how to make your own. I promise it's worth the effort. I see a lot of people agonize over what they put in their curry base. And maybe it matters some, but what really matters is technique. Remember the oil? This is why it matters. You will never get restaurant results if you don't learn how to bloom your spices. It may seem a little scary, but it's fundamental. Get this one step and you will rock your Indian restaurant curries. There's 2 tricks to this. Use enough oil and watch your heat. Keep your heat low enough so that your spices don't burn. You can do this. All that oil is important for another reason. You want to be able to fry your curry base. And I do mean fry, like crank the heat and spatter everywhere. A gentle simmer so isn't going to cut it here, so wear an apron or wear old clothes. And resist the urge to stir constantly. Stir it enough so that the oil and the curry base combine and then just let it do its thing. After about 80 or 90 seconds, you'll see the oil starting to separate, craters forming. That's when you add your next ladle of curry base. Give it a good stir and let it fry again, another 80 or 90 seconds. I'm not doing it here because I'm trying to look good in front of the camera, but usually I stand back while it's frying so that I don't get splattered on unnecessarily. I gave up on the stove a long time ago though, that's just hopeless. Thankfully I don't have a backsplash, but what I also don't have is a tip on how to make these curries without making a mess. That's actually not quite true. I have a whole new series on Glebe Kitchen called Hotel Style that does super posh restaurant style cooking with less mess. Worth a look if you're into this kind of stuff. And why would you be 4 minutes into this video if you weren't into this kind of stuff? At least I left the shameless self-promotion to the end. You gotta give me that. No? You're right, I won't do it again. And that's it. 10 tips for better Indian restaurant style cooking. I hope you learned something useful. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please hit the like button or subscribe. And remember, life's too short for bad food.